Everyone in Umueze knew Eminike as the gentle young man who lived with his three sisters, Adaugo, Nene, and Tobechi. He was humble, respectful, and always willing to help people around him. He could cook, wash, sweep, and even braid hair. His sisters trained him well though. Women who admired him would giggle as they walked past him. Eminike believed that if a man treats a woman like a queen, their home will be full of peace and love. But peace was the last thing Eminike got when he married Chisom. In fact, as soon as he got married to Chisom, he lost his peace. Eminike had rejected Ebube, a kind-hearted woman, because she was fat. Instead, he married Chisom, a beautiful woman with bright skin, pointed nose, and curvy hips. Chisom had that kind of beauty that made men lose focus. What Eminike didn't know was that beauty without good character is like honey mixed with poison. It will look sweet until you taste it. It started with small insults. Eminike, are you a man or a woman? You cook too much. Why are you always smiling like a fool? Don't touch me, oh, your hands are too rough. Eminike would laugh, thinking she was only joking. Soon, the laughter died down. It all started on a Monday evening when Chisom came back from work and asked him to cook egusi soup. Eminike tried his best. He added ugu leaf, stockfish. In fact, he seasoned it well. Chisom tested it and spat it on the floor. Is this what your useless sisters taught you? Before he could reply her, bam! She slapped him. One hot slap that made his ears ring. Are you mad? You want to kill me with salt? That night, she beat him with her slippers. He was still made to apologize to her. On a Sunday afternoon, she had given him her clothes to wash. Eminike quickly carried the big bucket to the backyard and began scrubbing the clothes, while Chisom stood by the door, watching him like a police officer on patrol. Use more soap, oh, Chisom shouted. Just as she instructed him, he added more soap and then scrubbed even harder. As he tried to rinse the clothes, she walked up to him with the soapy bucket. Then she said, "Let me help you rinse." Before he could understand what was going on, Chisom poured the whole dirty water on his head. His mouth was opened in shock. No words came out. That is what you get for washing like a baby. He stood there, dripping wet. He looked broken and speechless. One Saturday, they were driving to her friend's wedding. On the road, Chisom complained about her husband's shirt. "This shirt again? Don't you have shame?" "Honey, it is the one I ironed." Before he could say another word, she cut him off. "Shut up, useless man." Just in front of a supermarket, she pulled over and asked him to come down from the car. "Oya, Eminike, get down." "Honey, what happened?" "I said get down now." She quickly got out, opened the passenger door, and dragged him out by his shirt. People watched as the scene unfolded. Some laughed and others shook their heads, but Eminike said nothing. He walked home with dust on his shoes and shame on his face. That night, when Chisom came back home, Eminike was sitting in the room. He didn't say a word. He was clearly lost in his own thoughts. When Chisom walked in, she dropped her handbag and looked at him. "So, because of that small correction I gave to you today, you are angry?" she asked. Then she walked closer to him and began another drama in the house. "You are unhappy because I told you to get out of my car? If you don't like it, go back to your sister's house or buy your own car." He looked at her with quiet tears in his eyes, but he said nothing. And just like that, she walked past him and went into the bedroom. That was how silence became his only escape from his wife, Chisom. Eminike stopped talking too much. He never complained. He cooked, cleaned, washed, and folded clothes like a servant. His silence didn't stop the beating he received from his wife. One rainy evening, Chisom returned back home from work. She was already angry. It was obvious from the way she slammed the door. "Eminike, where is the food?" she barked. "It is in the pot," Eminike answered gently, trying to avoid unnecessary queries from his wife. "What did you cook? "Honey, I prepared okra soup and semo," he answered. "Are you mad? You know I don't like okra soup when it rains." He tried to explain that it was the only thing left in the kitchen and the money he had was barely enough to prepare another soup. Before he could finish talking, she grabbed a stainless spoon and wham! She hit him on the shoulder. Then she pushed the pot off the stove, letting the hot soup spill to the ground. "You are very useless. Go and eat the food with your dead grandmother." Eminike stood there. His chest was rising and falling, but he said nothing. He picked up the broken pot and cleaned the mess. That night, he went to bed hungry, while Chisom went to a restaurant and ate to her satisfaction. The next week, his elder sister, Adaogo, called. She called to check in on Eminike and his wife. "Odogunwoke, how are you and our wife? Hope all is well. That reminds me, when are you coming to visit us?" Eminike laughed weakly. "Soon, sister." Unlike him, he wasn't so excited. "You have been quiet. Is everything okay?" "Yes, everything is fine," Eminike lied. Adaogo knew her brother. She knew something was wrong. He was now a family man, so she expected him to handle things amicably. And since he didn't give her an assurance, she told him she would be coming to visit him and his wife soon. Every morning, before the sun came out, Eminike would wake up, boil water, and sweep the house, while Chisom would still be sleeping and snoring like a dragon. Eminike, he had to wake up early. If she woke up and saw that the water wasn't hot, she would shout. Sometimes she would slap him. After cleaning the house, he would dress up and carry his bag. Inside the bag were his makeup kits, powder, foundation, lipsticks, brushes, and gele. Eminike was a makeup artist. He learned it from his cousin in Aba. He had passion for it, and at the local market, people respected him. They called him Fine Hands. He would sit under his small umbrella and tie gele for brides, paint their faces, and for women going for parties, he would tie their gele. Eminike would smile like nothing was wrong, but only God knew what he was going through in his house. When his sister Adaogo came to visit, it was a Saturday afternoon. Eminike had just returned from the market. Adaogo knocked and then he opened the door and forced a smile. "Sister, you didn't tell me you were coming today, oh." She stepped in. Her eyes scanned the room. "Eminike, how are you doing? And where is our wife?" "I am fine, sister. Come inside," he said, avoiding her eyes. As they sat down, Adaogo noticed the small bruises on his arms and the way he limped when he walked to the kitchen. Chisom came out with an angry face. "Oh, you brought a visitor to my house and you didn't tell me." Before Eminike could explain, Chisom hissed and walked back inside. Adaogo's eyes widened. "Eminike, what is going on here?" Eminike looked down. "Sister, she's tired and she's pregnant. That is the reason for her mood swing." Eminike lied. "Pregnant?" Adaogo blinked. "That doesn't explain why she can't even greet me." "Sister, I am sorry, but you know how it is." Adaogo swallowed her words. She looked at her brother's tired face. She looked at the bedroom door. Something wasn't right, but she didn't say anything. She was his elder sister, but Eminike was a man and she respected him. She only stayed for a short while and then she left. That night, after Adaogo left, Chisom slapped Eminike for not telling her his sister was coming over. Then she poured cold water on him. "You and your sister are planning rubbish behind my back, Abi. Let me tell you, if she tries me again, I will beat her in your presence." She hissed and then she walked away. Eminike shivered in the cold, but he didn't say anything. That night, he just wiped his body and went to sleep on the floor. Eminike was tying gele for a customer when it happened. It was a big market day. Women were moving from one corner to another, calling prices, pricing onions and wrappers. Some came to paint their faces. Auntie Uzoma, the popular food seller, sat in Eminike's chair. He was already drawing her eyebrows. Then a voice rose from the corner. "So this is where you have been hiding." Just then, heads began to turn. It was Chisom. Her eyes were red. She wore slippers and tied wrapper on her chest. Chisom charged forward like thunder. "Eminike, you left the house without washing my clothes. You even left without cooking. You think you can disrespect me and run to the market?" Eh? Auntie Uzoma stood up, looking confused. "Madam, abeg calm down. Shut up there. Who are you to tell me what to do? Is this your husband? You want to snatch him away from me?" Before anyone could say anything, Chisom grabbed a bottle of malt from one of the stalls nearby. She broke it on the ground. "If you talk again, Eminike, I will cut you. I swear, I will cut you." People began to gather. Now wetin dey happen? It is his wife oh. This woman go kill this boy one day. Eminike didn't say a word. He picked up his bag quietly. Auntie Uzoma tried to hold him, but he just walked away. Chisom followed him home, still shouting and cursing. That night, she threw his clothes outside and locked the door. He slept in front of the house, near the gutter. Mosquitoes fed on his skin like hungry spirits. This became normal. If Eminike burnt food, she beat him. If he spoke while she was still talking, she slapped him. If he looked sad, she would say, "You think I need you in my life? I made a mistake by marrying you, foolish man." The neighbors noticed, but they were afraid to interfere. Chisom was not just loud, she was wild. She once threatened to strip naked and swear for anybody who tried to correct her. And even the landlord stayed quiet. One day, Eminike fainted. He had returned from the market after a long day. He hadn't eaten since morning. Chisom was in the bedroom, painting her nails as she always did. He entered the kitchen and there was no food. He opened the pot, it was dry. "Chisom, did you eat today?" he asked. She hissed, "And so, must I cook for you? Are you a baby?" He went outside, sat under the mango tree, and closed his eyes. The next thing he could remember was waking up on the floor with water being poured on his head by a neighbor. "Eminike, wake up." His eyes blinked slowly. His body was weak. He didn't say a word. He just cried. Meanwhile, Ebube, the girl Eminike had rejected, her name was on everyone's lips. She was the girl Eminike's sisters had begged him to marry. "Ebube is too fat," he had said. "I need a woman that will make heads turn." He wanted a banging body, something flashy, something hot and smooth. He didn't know marriage was beyond banging body and smooth skin. Everyone loved Ebube, not because she was loud or flashy, but because of her humility and respect for people. She was the kind of girl who would kneel to greet elders even if her knees ached. She washed her widowed mother's clothes with her own hands. She helped children carry firewood, smiled gently at strangers, and never raised her voice unnecessarily. People said she was a good girl, the kind you don't find anymore. One day, Chief Okafor was seated with his guest when Ebube walked past his compound with her basket of vegetables. She greeted them, smiling politely, her wrapper tied neatly and her shoulders straight. As soon as she left, Chief Okafor turned to his son. "Did you see that girl? That is the kind of woman you should marry." His son, who newly returned from Lagos, had frowned. "That quiet one?" "Yes," Chief Okafor said firmly. "Her name is Ebube. I have watched her for years. She's different from the rest of the girls here." It was on the chief's word that they began making quiet inquiries. Her people were approached respectfully, and soon introductions were made. Ebube had no wild past, no drama. She came with peace and not performance. When Chief's son married her, it was the wedding of the year. Chief Okafor's family brought cows, camels, and lace flown in from Senegal. Even women who had mocked her before now begged to take pictures with her. As the music played in her compound, Eminike sat quietly in his room, staring at the battered pot of soup Chisom had poured on the floor that morning. He had chosen beauty over sense, and now beauty has become a nightmare in red lipsticks. Life with Chisom was like drinking garri with tears. From the outside, she was still the girl with a banging body, the kind who turned heads at weddings and streets, but inside that figure was filth. Chisom barely took her bath. The house always stank of sweat, Maggi cubes, and old oil. Yet, she would raise her voice like a queen. And Eminike, the boy who once dreamt of a peaceful marriage, now lived like a stranger in his own home. He swept, he mopped, he cooked, he even scrubbed the toilet, while Chisom sat on the veranda, painting her nails and shouting at passerbys. When he burnt her stew, she slapped him so hard his ears rang like a church bell on Christmas morning. He told no one, not even his sisters, not even his old friends at the market. But there is an African adage that says nothing is hidden under the sun. The streets began to talk. Is that not Chisom's husband, Eminike? The one she beat last week in the compound. He is still there. That man no get shame at all. Oh. Even customers at his market stall started whispering. One day, as he finished tying gele for a bride's mother, she leaned closer and whispered, "Fine man, run while you still have legs." Eminike forced a smile. As he turned away, a tear dropped on the white lace. His shame was growing louder than his voice. Each day, Chisom's madness grew, and Eminike's hope died in small pieces. Everywhere Eminike went, people now recognize him not for his hard work at the market, nor for his kindness, but as the husband of a mad woman. At the local market, women would shift away and whisper, "There goes the man who gets beaten like a child on a daily basis. Shame no dey catch am o. Maybe he likes it, who knows?" Other times, children would point at him mockingly. Youths would laugh at him, and even the old women that used to bless him now hissed when he passed. Despite the shame, Eminike still stayed. He cooked for her, cleaned up after her mess. When she mocked him in front of his customers, he would smile and say, "It is just stress." Chisom's shenanigans came crashing down the day Eminike's youngest sister, Tobechi, got married. Chisom wore a tight but loud dress. She applied red lipstick that looked like blood, and her face was squeezed like someone had forced her out of bed. At first, everything was fine until Chisom overheard someone talking about Ebube, the same Ebube Eminike had rejected just because she was fat. On hearing that she was now married to a rich man and heavily pregnant, Chisom turned and spat on the ground. "What does that fat girl have that I don't have?" she shouted at the middle of the reception. "I blame that fool that calls himself my husband. He brought me here just to humiliate me." As she spoke about her husband with so much disdain, people froze and heads began to turn. And before anyone could calm her down, she grabbed Eminike on his shirt and slapped him very hard right there in front of his family, the bride, the groom, and all the guests who were in attendance. Everyone was shocked. Eminike's sisters jumped up. They were very angry at the display of Chisom. "What kind of nonsense is this?" Adaogo screamed. "Is this the life you have been living, Eminike?" Nene asked. Chisom faced them with fire in her eyes. "If you don't take your time, I will beat all of you and join him. Make una try me first." Guests stared at Eminike with pity, but yet he still said, "Please, she's not usually like this. It is the pregnancy hormones. She just needs rest." He lied again. His elder sister, Adaogo, was very angry. She knew her brother was suffering in silence, yet he was protecting his wicked wife. 2 days later, the sun had barely risen when Adaogo arrived. This time, she didn't come alone. She returned with Nene, two of their uncles, Uncle Nedu and Uncle Chizoba. Their uncles were men known for not tolerating nonsense. When they got to the house, they didn't knock. They entered the compound like warriors coming to save their own. One of the neighbors who had witnessed Chisom disgrace Eminike whispered from her veranda, "Finally, God don't catch that evil woman today." Eminike was at the backyard peeling yam. His face was already swollen from the last slap he had received from burning the soup he prepared the previous day. The moment he saw his family, he dropped the knife and yam. "Please, don't cause trouble. Biko, I am fine." Adaogo snapped. "Is this what you call fine? Can't you see? You are a shadow of yourself. Chisom has turned you to something else." The rest of the family members did not argue or exchange words with him. They walked past him and entered the house. Chisom was lying on the sofa in their sitting room. She was laughing at something on her phone. She didn't even look up when they came in until she heard the sound of zip and boxes. Wait, oh, what is going on here?" She jumped up. Nene did not answer her. She went straight into the bedroom and began folding Eminike's clothes. Adaogo joined her. They cleared his wardrobe and packed everything, even the small mirror and powder set he had used for his makeup business. "You people have lost your mind, so," Chisom screamed. "Not as much as you lost yours the day you raised your hand on our brother." Uncle Nedu fired back. Chisom hissed, "So you people came to carry your houseboy, abi? He should go. Let's see who else will marry him." She turned to Eminike. Cry, baby. You went to call your people to come and save you, abi?" At this time, the neighbors were already gathered. "Shame on you, Chisom," one woman shouted. "You don't even know how to keep a home. You are very dirty and violent. God will punish you," another woman added. Meanwhile, Eminike stood at the door with tears in his eyes. He wished all of this drama never happened. It was already too late. "Eminike, let's go," Nene said gently, and just like that, they walked him out. With every step Eminike left behind, shame, disgrace, and the pain of a marriage that nearly buried him alive. Just 3 weeks after Eminike left, his family gathered the elders from both his mother's family and that of his father's, and they marched straight to Chisom's father's house. This time, they didn't come with words, they came with actions. Without bantering words, they collected the bride price back from Chisom's father. Chisom's father, Chief Eze, buried his face in shame. "I warned that girl," he said through clenched teeth. "I warned her to change her bad character. She said she was a princess of Africa." Chief Eze did not argue nor beg. He gave them the bride price and stood up slowly. "She's no longer my daughter. Let her carry her disgrace alone." It started slowly. Neighbors stopped greeting her. Women whispered when she passed. Even the bike riders would hiss and speed off whenever she waved them down. A bike man once said, "Fine girl wey no get home training. Abeg comot for here." Chisom bent her head in shame. One day, she went to the market to buy tomatoes. The moment she got to the pepper seller, the woman looked at her from head to toe, and then she said, "Abeg o, carry your cos comot for here. I no dey sell for you." Chisom blinked twice in confusion. Then she asked the woman, "Madam, what did I do to you?" "Go and ask your grandfather, yeye woman," the woman said. She left the market empty-handed. No one sold anything to her. It got worse when her compound landlord gave her a quit notice. "Madam Chisom, leave my house. I don't want any wahala. Abeg, my house is not a wrestling ring. Pack your things and go." One hot Saturday afternoon, Chisom packed all she had left in the house and left the compound. She carried a bag filled with her clothes. She returned to her father's house. When she arrived, Chief Eze, her father, came to the door with an angry face. "What are you doing here?" her father asked. "Papa, please, I have nowhere else to go." Chisom begged. "Chisom, you will not stay in my house," he said. "We are still trying to clean the stain you left on our name, so get lost." "But Papa, I am your daughter." "You were, but not after all you did to your husband and his family." Before she could say any more word, Chief Eze went back inside and slammed the door on her face. Her mother, who overheard the conversation between father and daughter, stayed in her room. She cried until she had no strength left in her again. Mrs. Eze knew she couldn't go against her husband by challenging his decision, so she remained quiet. Chisom sat outside on the bare floor. People who were passing by pointed and laughed at her. She felt so ashamed and hopeless. Night had fallen when Chisom's mother quietly opened the back door. She saw her daughter lying on a bench like a wounded child. Her fine clothes was torn. Her hair, once full and shiny, was now dry and unkempt. Chisom, she whispered, placing a hand on her daughter's shoulder. Mama, Chisom's voice cracked. I am hungry. Her mother's heart broke. She went inside, warmed some rice, and gave it to her to eat. As Chisom ate in silence, tears ran down her cheeks. Later that night, her mother packed a small bag and told her, "You can't stay here. I will take you to your auntie, Auntie Udo, in Umuahia. You will be staying there with her for now." Meanwhile, Eminike had started a new life in Lagos. When he arrived, he got a job at a bridal makeup studio. He became one of the most sought-after makeup artists on the mainland. His gentle hands, humility, and soft-spoken nature won him customers all over town. He sent his sisters money and they were proud. Meanwhile, when Chisom arrived at her auntie's house in Aba, she was not the same girl with the bouncing hips and painted nails who used to scream at her husband in public. She was now calmer. Her cheekbones were sharp and her once radiant skin was dull. The only thing that still stood strong in Chisom was her pride. "Auntie, good afternoon," she said with a low voice when she walked in. Her auntie, Auntie Udo, looked at her from head to toe. "Enter inside and put your bag there," she said. For 2 days, Auntie Udo said nothing to Chisom. She gave her food, but there was no comfort or even conversation between them. On the 3rd day, a knock came in at the door. It was a nurse from the community health care. Auntie Udo had looked at Chisom with a motherly eyes, and then she had seen that Chisom was pregnant. So she decided to call the nurse from the community hospital to come in and run a test on Chisom. In few minutes, it was confirmed Chisom was pregnant with Eminike's child. That night, Chisom sat outside, looking at the dark sky. Silent tears rolled down her cheeks. "God, I know I have not been a good person, but why punish me with a pregnancy?" Auntie Udo came to her that night and for the first time sat beside her. "You should be thanking your stars that even with your wicked deeds, God still gave you a chance at motherhood. Not all women are blessed that way after their wickedness." On hearing those words from Auntie Udo, Chisom remained silent. Auntie Udo continued, "If you must stay under my roof, you will change your bad character. You will kneel when you greet your elders. You will bathe twice a day. You will scrub the floor. You will thank God for every grain of rice you eat here. Do you understand?" Chisom nodded. "Yes, ma." "Say it with your full chest." "Yes, ma," Chisom said while crying. And so her training began. She woke up as early as 4:30 a.m. every day to sweep, clean, fetch water from the borehole. Her feet became rough. Her soft palms were hard now. She started bathing regularly, brushing her teeth morning and night, and kneeling down to greet elders. For the first time in her life, she washed her own underwears with her hands. No house help, no husband. If she tries to complain, her auntie would hiss, "If not that you chase your husband away with your bad character, you should be in your own house by now. You better pound that yam very well," her auntie said. It was tough, but slowly, Chisom began to change. She smiled more. She began to care for her unborn child. She learned how to fry akara and wrap moi moi with leaves. She started helping neighbors without being asked. People in the compound were shocked. Is this not Chisom the fighter? See how humble she is now. Weeks had passed. Chisom's belly began to grow round. Her skin, once rough and ashy, began to glow again. Her auntie's neighbors, who once mocked her behind closed doors, now greeted her with smiles all over their faces. "Good morning, Chisom," Madam Ugo, who stays at the next compound, called out to her one morning. Chisom smiled and knelt down. "Good morning, ma." "Ha! Wonder shall never end, though," Madam Ugo whispered to her daughter, "Is this the same girl that they say she treated her husband like trash? See her now, she is so humble." But not everyone was smiling with Chisom. Some of the old market women who knew what she had done to Eminike still spat on the ground whenever they saw her pass by. "Look at her with big belle. She don't use her bad character pursue her husband. Wicked girl," one of the old market women said. Chisom heard them all, but instead of reacting as she would before, she held her growing belly and kept walking. One Sunday afternoon, Auntie Udo called her out. "Come here, Chisom." Chisom quickly rushed off to answer her auntie. "I was not going to say this yet, but someone came to the house yesterday. He saw you at the borehole last week. Someone who knew Eminike." Chisom's eyes widened. Her heart skipped. "Who?" she asked. Auntie Udo sighed. "His cousin. He lives in Lagos. He said Eminike is doing well and that he has opened a makeup studio where he ties gele and does bridal makeup." Auntie Udo said, "That is good news. I am happy for him. He told me Eminike still carries the pain in his eyes. He is still heartbroken from all the pains you caused him. I will advise you find a way to reach out to him. You should also ask for forgiveness," Auntie Udo said. Chisom swallowed hard. Her hands trembled. "Okay, ma. Does he know I am pregnant?" "No, and I didn't tell his cousin either." That night, Chisom couldn't sleep. The baby kicked in her belly, and she whispered through tears, "Your father is a good man, and I hurt him. I just want to say sorry, even if he never forgives me." Back in Lagos, Eminike had changed. His once soft heart had grown quiet and guarded. He focused on his craft. He tied gele with precision, painted faces with grace, and smiled for customers. But at night, when the lights were out, he laid on his foam and stared at the ceiling. Sometimes he would cry, other times he would clench his fist in anger. "How did I let her treat me like trash?" he would often ask himself. "I covered up for her over and over again. I was a fool." In the village, Auntie Udo had seen how much Chisom had transformed, so she decided to help her reach out to her sister-in-law. When Adaogo arrived at Auntie Udo's house, she came with a cooler of jollof rice and fried meat. She knew about Chisom changes. One of the market women who traded in Umueze from Aba had told Adaogo about Chisom's pregnancy, and she knew the child was for her brother. Auntie Udo told Adaogo the reason she had called for their meeting, and just then, Adaogo requested to see Chisom. "Auntie, I want to see her," she said. Chisom came out slowly. Her belly was round and heavy. Her eyes were cautious because she didn't know what to expect. Adaogo looked at her. She looked different, not just in appearance, but in spirit. "So, you are truly pregnant with my brother's child?" Adaogo asked. Chisom nodded. "Are you ready to be a mother?" "Yes, ma." "Are you sure you won't teach this child how to beat people's sons?" Chisom knelt down. "I am sorry, ma. I was foolish and proud. Please forgive me." Adaogo sighed. "It is not me you owe an apology. It is the father of your unborn child you owe this apology." "I owe you too an apology," Chisom whispered. Her voice choked with tears. "I am truly sorry for how I treated your brother, how I insulted you and your sisters. Please find a place in your heart to forgive me. I want to look at Eminike in the eyes to beg him. Even if he doesn't take me back, at least I will survive if he forgives me." Adaogo stared at her for a long time. Then she handed her a small brown envelope. "Open it," Adaogo said. When she opened it, it was an address to Eminike's shop in Lagos. "I will go," she said while kneeling down. "Even if he sends me away, I will go. I just want to tell him I am sorry." She thanked Adaogo, and immediately she set out to make preparations. By Saturday morning, she dressed up. Her hair was neatly plaited. Her eyes were steady. Her heart raced. She stepped into a small Sienna bus with her auntie. She had no makeup on. All she had with her was her swollen belly and hope in her chest. When Chisom stepped into Eminike's studio, the air stood still. He was sitting on a low stool, tying gele for a bride who was giggling in front of the mirror. He looked up, their eyes met, and for the first time in months, he truly saw her, not as the woman who beat him, but as a shadow of her own misery. He excused the bride quietly, and when they were alone, Chisom knelt down before him and began to cry. "I am sorry, Eminike," she said. "I am not asking you for forgiveness because I deserve it, but because I broke something precious in you." In a moment, silence filled the room. Then she lifted her face slowly. "You were good to me, too good, but I took advantage of your kindness and love. I thought love meant control. I was wrong. Please, Eminike, find a place in your heart to forgive me." He looked at her, long and hard. "I don't hate you," he said. "I did at some point, but not anymore." He leaned back and sighed. Then he whispered, "You are carrying my child. It will be useless hating you. I won't abandon my child," he said firmly. "But you, I cannot promise to accept you just immediately. Although I never stopped loving you, even though I tried. But you must prove you are not the same woman I left behind. You must prove it to everyone, including my sisters, my uncles, even your own people. I will do all I can to show you how much I love you," she repeated with more conviction in her voice this time around. 2 months had passed and everyone could see how much Chisom had transformed. She had learned how to cook, not just boil rice, but to pound yam, roast fish, and steam vegetable like a proper Igbo woman. She cleaned like a pro. She prayed every morning. She gave food to neighbors, greeted elders while on her knees, and fetched water even with her pregnancy. When the old women at the market saw her that month, they shouted, "This one na Jazo, Chisom has changed for real." Indeed, Chisom had grown genuinely. She had learned from her past mistakes, and now she knew how to treat people better. The day of public forgiveness came. Eminike's entire family gathered under the mango tree in their compound. His uncles sat with walking sticks. His sisters wore matching wrappers. The air was tense. Chisom had arrived with her father, Chief Eze, her mother, and Auntie Udo, bearing yams, a bottle of shinap, hen, and kola nuts. This was a way to traditionally apologize for one's wrongdoing in their village. She knelt before everyone. Then she began with her speech. "Please, my fathers, my mothers, sisters, and brothers, forgive me. I wronged your son. I disgraced your name. I mocked your culture. I am sorry. I am ready to be a wife, a mother, and a woman who honors her home." The whole compound was quiet for a while. Then Adaogo, the eldest daughter, rose up. "My uncles, please let us consider her. She has genuinely changed. I have watched her with my 2 eyes, and I can tell you, truly, she has changed, and now she's carrying our blood." The elders debated and argued among themselves, and finally, they agreed the bride price would be repaid back to the bride's family. It was not just because tradition demanded it, but because forgiveness demanded it. And so, in a small and quiet traditional ceremony, Chisom and Eminike were reunited. It was not like their first wedding ceremony that had loud music and so many guests, but this time with honest words, shared smiles, and a community that had witnessed both destruction and redemption. As Eminike took her hand in his, he whispered, "We begin again." Then Chisom replied, "My husband, I will never raise my hand to hurt you again, but only to serve you, to hold you, and to raise our children with love." The villagers still talked. The old market women still gossiped, but it didn't stop them from coming together as one and standing by each other. And so, this brings us to the end of the story. Dear friends, if you were Eminike, would you take Chisom back? Kindly let us know in the comment section. And until next time, my name is Efwa, of Folktales by Efwa. Do remember to like, share with friends and family, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you and bye.